Now, when it comes to forecast models, it's not a question of if the models will change, but how the models will change. Yesterday, this bullseye of 2 feet of snow was right over Massachusetts and southern Maine, and as you can see, the models have moved it off into the Atlantic. The good news is, though, this storm's a long way off. This thing's hitting Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's still only Monday right now, so the models will continue to change and get better. So if you want to be updated with this storm as it moves through, you can subscribe to my channel for daily forecast videos. Well, to understand where this storm went wrong, it's interesting to look at where it starts. And as it turns out, it is the combination of two low pressure systems. One that's going to be moving through the Midwest, which will be bringing down a ton of cold Arctic air, the cold air that you need if you want to get a bunch of snow. And then that low is going to combine with this low that's sitting over the southeast that will be providing all the energy and moisture. Another couple boxes that need to get checked if you want huge snow accumulations. So let's check out this low moving through the Midwest first. Well, it's going to move through at about Thursday at 7 a.m. You can see Wisconsin starting to get this little strip of snow as this low pushes through the region, and then northern Michigan will get a little taste of that snow by Friday at 7 a.m. And you can actually see the low in this screen right here, Friday at 1 a.m. That low is at 1,008 millibars. You're going to want to remember that number because by the time it hits the northeast and combines with the other one, that low drops down to the lowest low I've seen in weeks. Wow, I just said low a lot of times. So let's look at some of the accumulations expected. This strip right here, this one's actually moving through on Wednesday for the Midwest, so that's exciting. Just kind of a random little strip of snow. And then this is associated with that low that's going to be causing the huge snowstorm possibly later in the week. And you see parts of northern Wisconsin getting maybe an inch, 2 inches with this one. Michigan, you're probably in that 2 to 3 inch range in the more northern portions, closer to lakes where you get some of that lake effect. Now let's check out this low that's going to be moving through the southeast. And honestly, this might be the most exciting part of the storm. And I shouldn't say exciting because it's going to bring severe thunderstorms, a ton of rainfall, possibly 2 to 5 inches in some places. And that is most likely going to lead to some flooding. So sorry about saying exciting, not the right word choice. The low is going to be moving through Wednesday at 1 a.m. You start to see it. Boom, it just explodes over the region. And the reason for that is it's bringing in this warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico. Let's see if we can actually zoom in on that to see what that looks like. So moving through, you see there's the low. Let's go back once. There's the low, and it's bringing in all this warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico. You see the continent, it's about 45 degrees. It's in these green temperatures. Whereas the water right here is oranges, even reds. That's showing 70 degrees. So when this low brings in this warm air, that warm air rises, makes a bunch of clouds, and then there's a lot of moisture too. So then those clouds can drop a ton of rain on the southeast, which is not what we want because that area is already flooded. Especially the Pearl River Basin right here. That was extremely flooded last week. There was a state of emergency, and as you can see, they're going to be getting more rain with this one. Not what they need. The soils are already saturated, and a huge burst comes in Wednesday at about 1 p.m. You can see some of those rainfall rates are in the 0.4 to 0.5 inches per hour. So if you're dealing with that inches per hour, you can imagine what you can pick up in an entire day. And the thing about this too is it doesn't just move off. It really hangs out in the southeast basically from Tuesday through Thursday before it finally moves up and hits the northeast, which is what we'll be talking about at the end of the video. So there's that low. This one, 1,008 millibars too. That seems to be the number that keeps showing up today. Huge rainfall rates for Alabama on Thursday at about 1 in the morning. And then those rates move into Georgia Thursday at about 7 a.m. And you can see really high rates. We got 0.4 inches per hour And then where does this one finally move off? About Thursday night at 7 p.m. That one's finally gone. So that's going to be something to look out for. I'm going to keep you guys updated on this one because that might end up being the biggest story that this storm ends up bringing, is the flooding to the southeast. So let's take a look at this low. Where does it go after? Well, it's going to move up the east coast. And remember, it picked up a bunch of warm air and moisture and energy when it was sitting in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, now it's picking up a bunch of warm air, energy, and moisture from the Gulf Stream. You can see those temperatures right there are in the 70-degree range as well. So that's going to be moving up, and here is where it goes wrong. Yesterday, this low was hugging the coast the entire time it moved up. Well, now they have it moving off into the Atlantic a little bit farther. Now let's see when it combines. There's two lows right here, the one over the Midwest and the one that moved up from the southeast. The two lows combine about Friday morning, 10 a.m. to maybe 1 p.m. And you can see the low drops down 984, 978, 967. So the power is there for this storm. If this one, and the models will change, if this one moves back towards the coast, then all this power and energy and cold air and moisture, all of that is going to be hitting the northeast. And there's still a good chance. But 967, that is a low. But the problem is it just moved off into the Atlantic a little more than the models were originally saying it would. But gonna change. So let's take a look as the two systems collide in the northeast. So we got this more northern system. You'll notice the precipitation is snow because it's associated with the cold air. And then we see this more southern system. That precipitation is rain because it has the warm air from the Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf Stream. Well, these two systems combine about Friday at 1 p.m. That's probably when the real collision of these two systems is going to happen. And you see some rain in central Pennsylvania, some rain for New York. And then as that fills in, you're still getting some snow. So that's the good news. It hasn't completely died out. You're still going to get something, especially western New York and central New York. That's some pretty good snowfall rates. That's maybe 0.2 inches per hour right there. And especially by Lake Erie, where you can get some of that lake effect, the winds around this low would be counterclockwise. So the winds would be going right over Lake Erie. So you get this little bullseye of snow right there. And then you start getting some of that lake effect from Lake Ontario as well as the winds continue to push like this. But like I said, this low right here, 967 millibars, extremely low, tons of power, and the cold air is going to be there. That low brought the cold air down. The question is, can this low move back a little bit farther? See, Massachusetts still getting some snow with this one, but not those crazy heavy rates that we saw earlier. See, on Saturday at about 7 a.m., Massachusetts, Connecticut, you're still getting some snow with this one, so it's not completely dead. How much snow are you going to get? Well, let's take a look. So that's the snow accumulations as this low moves through. And then western Pennsylvania, you're going to have accumulated about an inch by Friday at 7 p.m. And then actually some decent accumulations. This one's not a complete dud yet. You see maybe 2 to 4 inches in western parts of New York. And then northeastern Pennsylvania and southern New York, you're in about that 2 to 5 inch range. So it's decent. And then even a little bullseye of 5 to 8 inches where we saw that lake effect from Lake Ontario. But, oh, that's the bullseye right there. That's what we want to move back on shore. That right there is showing 16 inches, maybe up to 24 inches, 2 feet of snow. And there's a good chance it moves back. So to stay updated with this one, you're going to want to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing forecast videos every single day this week following the storm because it's going to be extremely interesting to see what ends up happening. Thanks for watching.